Okay, there's no flag. Trump has just gotten up from being shot, and now the photographers are being moved into position. At this point, the camera angle basically stabilizes position, and then now you see the flag coming into frame, seemingly held up by this crane that you see in the top right corner of the screen. No flag, and then photographers getting in position, and then flag. Is Donald Trump a Manchurian candidate? And if so, how did they get control of a man who seemingly couldn't be controlled? And maybe more importantly, who are the ones pulling the strings?
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler?
Yeah, what was Butler? Like, what really happened at Butler, Pennsylvania in July of 2024? Because with each passing day, with Trump looking more and more like a Manchurian candidate, doing the bidding of unknown dark forces, Butler is looking more and more like an inflection point, and perhaps, just perhaps, the biggest hoax of all time.
Tonight, former Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeting 3 times in less than 24 hours, raising questions about the 2024 assassination attempt of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, which was so crucial to that election, including asking, quote, President Trump of all people should be leading the charge. Why isn't he? And she adds, why the cover-up?
Don't you guys find it a little weird that Trump, the guy who loves nothing more than to talk about himself, has said almost nothing about the alleged assassination attempt on his life? Okay, over the past year and a half, he's weaponized the DOJ, Kash Patel's FBI to go after basically every single political enemy he can think of. But figuring out the truth about who really wanted to kill him? Crickets. So today, we're going to try to figure out why. First, let's start with the facts about this day as presented by the mainstream media. On July 13th, 2024, Donald Trump was campaigning at an outdoor rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when a 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks allegedly opened fire from a nearby rooftop. At approximately 6:11 p.m., a bullet grazed Trump's right ear, leading to a chaotic scene where police snipers eventually killed the gunman after 8 rounds had been fired. Trump survived and defiantly signaled to the crowd with the American flag draped behind him in what is now one of the most iconic photos of all time. The shooting tragically resulted in the death of a spectator named Corey Comparator and critically injured 2 others as well. The FBI concluded its formal investigation in November 2025, maintaining that Crooks acted alone, finding no evidence of co-conspirators or foreign influence. Case closed, and let's just never talk about this again. Definitely no cover-up going on. They tell us all it was just the most significant Secret Service failure in decades. The other one I can think of, was in 1963, right around then. And that only, changed the entire course of history. But let's talk about the failures. Here's a list of, I think, close to a comprehensive list of the failures from that day. If I miss any, go ahead and add them in the chat below. But let's start with the first. No local law enforcement was on the rooftop used by the shooter. Number 2, when law enforcement was notified by citizens of the shooter, there was no prompt action at the rooftop to neutralize the shooter. We all saw the videos there. 3, local law enforcement failed to initiate active shooter protocol to protect Trump and the crowd. In fact, they did quite the opposite. 4, there was no apparent communication from local law enforcement to the U.S. Secret Service to get Trump to a secure location. 5, police snipers on the roof used binoculars to track the shooter's position and did not warn the Secret Service below to get Trump off the stage. Right, they knew about the shooter, they saw him, did nothing. Very odd. 6, police snipers under scope vision allowed the shooter to get set and shoot 6 rounds. I think it was actually 8 rounds at Trump. 7, a police sniper got off the scope and looked with the naked eye to be sure the shooter had taken his shots and never looked down at Trump. 8, finally, a police sniper shot Crooks, once again, after 8 rounds had already been fired. 9, no local police went up to the roof immediately after Crooks was shot to take away his gun and check on his status. 10, all the while, there was no active shooter protocol and no warning was given to Trump or the audience. Now, 1 or 2 of these, okay, maybe it was just a mistake, a lapse in training, miscommunication, an unfortunate series of coincidences, but 10? I think we can say maybe something is afoot. In fact, we actually do know that this is a cover-up, allegedly, because right from the get-go, the Secret Service was caught in a lie, claiming that the sloped roof used by the gunman had, quote, safety factor considerations, meaning it was too sloped for the Secret Service to be up there safely, which is why they evidently couldn't be up there. Like, come on, that's dumb. Really dumb. Especially considering the police snipers, the ones who eventually took out Thomas Crooks, were positioned on a rooftop with a much steeper grade than the building that was supposedly too dangerous for the Secret Service. Just a little PSA for everybody, okay? When you see an immediate disinformation campaign like that, you know right off the bat you are in the midst of a psyop. And a massive cover-up is probably already underway. Speaking of which, let's talk now about this iconic Trump photograph, because for there to be a cover-up, there needs to be something to psyop, which I think is the creation of this larger-than-life leader, an almost godlike figure that people are supposed to worship. Right? Look at this image. You know, the guy, fist raised high into the air, blood on his face. This is the start of a mythos. Because think about it. Why would the Secret Service ever allow Trump to be in that position? Not just to get shot in the first place, but then after he had already supposedly been shot, expose him again, because what if there was a second shooter? Not smart. Unless, of course, it was staged.
The president's been shot. Oh, no. No. Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering him. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. We love you, President Trump. Thank you, Johnny. We love you. Yes.
You guys see it, right? Why does it look like the flag is being lowered into position just as photographers are being ushered in to take photographs? Right there, no flag, and now there's a flag. Let's look at it again. Okay, there's no flag. Trump has just gotten up from being shot, and now the photographers are being moved into position. At this point, the camera angle basically stabilizes position, and then now you see the flag coming into frame, seemingly held up by this crane that you see in the top right corner of the screen. No flag, and then photographers getting in position, and then flag. I always say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, even though people like to call me that, but in moments like this, I'm definitely like, there's something going on here. Now, the crane owner apparently lost $50,000 as a result of the Trump rally shooting investigation. It says here, the American flag that served as a backdrop for the former president was held aloft by 2 long boom cranes donated for the event by Mitchell DeLulo, 31, a Butler County small business owner. Since the shooting, Mr. DeLulo has been unable to retrieve the cranes because they are in the middle of one of the most scrutinized crime scenes on the planet. He lost about $50,000 of business as a result. But despite his financial losses, Mr. DeLulo said he was proud to have supported Trump so prominently. Even if this whole ordeal were to put me out of business, I would do it again, he said. I believe in Trump. Bit of an odd reaction, I think. Oh, I just lost $50,000, but I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Makes no sense unless you believe that Trump is some kind of god. Which he says he's not. He's just a humble Red Cross doctor with demons above his head. But seriously, what the heck is going on?
I don't care if he staged the assassination attempt at Butler. I don't care. I don't care, and I think he should admit it. I think he should admit it. I should change the subject. Stop talking about Iran. Just admit you staged it in Butler. It was the heat of the campaign. People do crazy things in campaigns. I think, I'm speaking just for myself, I will not think less of you if you admit to staging and faking the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. I will be impressed by the level of coordination. Explain to us how you did it. Kind of like those David Copperfield behind that. And I know that David Copperfield had some Epstein links. Folks, that's neither here nor there. I'm trying to explain the way a magician will show you how they do their trick. I think Donald Trump should do a 1-hour special on Barry Weiss's CBS News. This is a great idea, with Barry, members of the Mossad, and Trump to discuss how they fabricated and staged the assassination attempt. Now, of course, a real person died, and that's terrible. R.I.P. And they should say that in high stakes things like this, stuff like that happens.
Stuff like that happens. Tim Dillon. That is, I mean, he's such a legend for daring to point out the questions that we all have in our heads, what we are thinking, right? Like, for example, Thomas Crooks. Who was this guy really? Was he just a deranged, crazy person? Or could he have been potentially groomed and radicalized by the FBI? I know it sounds a little crazy, but wouldn't be the first time that something like that has happened. The FBI claimed that Thomas Crooks had no online presence, but a Tucker Carlson investigation revealed he was actually very active online, with hundreds of YouTube comments, encrypted emails, Snapchat, Discord, and multiple payment apps. In fact, this is interesting. Among the 17 accounts that ended up being uncovered, one, his PayPal, was operated under an alias, Rod Swanson, and Rod Swanson just so happened to be a former senior FBI agent who was the chief of investigations for the state of Nevada during the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting. And if you know anything about that incident, this is a crazy, preposterous coincidence. I'm speechless. Thomas Crooks also appeared in a commercial, if you remember, for BlackRock.
My name is Brian DeLallo. I teach AP and Honors Economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say, that guy made this place a special place to come.
Oh, there he is, right there.
School and gave as much as he could to help the community.
Like, I don't know what's going on here, but something dark seems to be happening. Like, was Butler, or could Butler have been a stage event to communicate to Trump that he's under some kind of threat? Or was he maybe in on it to help him win the election, and once victorious, allow him to assume some kind of demonic role to usher in the end times? Like the other day, tweeting out a video of Frank Sinatra performing My Way with the lyrics, "And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention, I did it my way." Yeah, that's super comforting to hear from the President of the United States. At this point, I don't think it's that conspiratorial to say, I think Butler, PA was conjured by some kind of nefarious force, and now we're seeing that plan unfold in the form of a holy war on behalf of a foreign country. His administration is now filled with compromised degenerates, and he's now pardoning criminals and pedos. I want to end today with reading part of this tweet from Trisha Hope, who is a longtime Trump supporter. I don't know if she's supporting him anymore after this, and she was also a Trump national delegate. She writes, quote, "Since the attempt on his life, Trump has shown no interest in investigating what really happened. He never mentions it. It's as if it never happened, except when he tells us he took a bullet for us. As for Corey Comparator, he was used in this plot. Someone had to die, otherwise it would have been much easier to claim that it was a hoax. They killed Corey, likely because he was truly a hero in real life, one people would rally behind and defend passionately, as they should. Then to top it all off, they used Corey to their benefit at the convention. To this day, his wife is begging for answers she has repeatedly been denied. Sadly, they have no more use for her. She no longer matters. If you cannot look at this story and use critical thinking skills and have at least some questions, you are the problem, and we need you to snap out of it. She's right. It's time to snap out of it, people. This isn't a left-right issue. It's not a Democrat-Republican battle. This is a battle between good and evil, and the time to wake up, if you haven't already, is right now. That is it for me this week. What do you think? Was Butler, Pennsylvania a real threat on the president's life, or was it a hoax? Sound off in the comment section below. Also, if you have any rabbit holes that you want me to go down, let me know. If you want to support my journalism, you can become a member by going to my website, 5149jameslee.com. You can pick yourself up some merch there as well. But if you're not able to, no worries at all. Just take a second to like this video, share with your friends and family, subscribe if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know when my next video drops. As always, thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next one.
The current non-Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one.